Hello there. This discussion comes straight from the tax experts at Pro Tax Accountant, one of the UK's top accounting firms. Today, we're diving into something that's, well, it's a real nightmare for any business owner or individual in the UK, HMRC's Name and Shame policy. So let's just jump straight in. That question you're seeing? It's not some thought experiment. For hundreds of people across the UK every single year, it's a very real, very public, and honestly, a very damaging reality. This is a consequence that goes way beyond just paying a fine. It's about your reputation, and that, as we know, is priceless. So what are we actually talking about here? What is this list? Well, it's not some secret file tucked away in a government basement. Nope. It's a list published every quarter, right there on the gov.uk website, for absolutely everyone to see. Anyone can search it, and the details stay live for a full 12 months. And look, this isn't just HMRC getting aggressive. It's a formal power they have, given to them by law under the Finance Act 2009. The official title is Publishing Details of Deliberate Defaulters, or PDD. Now, the single most important word there, and I really want you to focus on this, is deliberate. This isn't for careless mistakes or a genuine slip-up on a tax return. This is for when HMRC is convinced you knew you owed tax and you chose not to pay. And we're not just talking about huge, faceless corporations here. The list is full of businesses you'd see on any high street. Your local cafe, IT consultants, landlords who haven't declared rental income, and building contractors. The amounts of money involved are serious, which makes this threat feel very real for any normal business owner. Okay, so this is the big question, right? Who actually ends up on this thing? It's not a lottery. HMRC has a very specific set of criteria you have to meet. Think of them like 3 tripwires. You hit all 3, and getting your name published is pretty much a done deal. All right, here they are, the 3 big conditions. First, like we said, the behavior has to be judged as deliberate. Second, the potential tax loss, so the amount of tax HMRC is missing out on, has to be over £25,000. And third, and you really need to listen to this part because it's your get-out-of-jail-free card, you fail to fully cooperate and give a complete disclosure to HMRC during their investigation. That last one is your escape hatch. Let's just pause on that number for a second. £25,000. It sounds like a big number, right? But in a tax investigation, which can stretch back for many years, you'd be surprised how quickly you can hit that figure. And that's because it's not just about one tax in 1 year. Okay, here's a little pro tip for you. And this is where a lot of people get caught out. That 25 grand threshold, it's not just for 1 year. It's the grand total of potential lost revenue across all the years of an investigation. And for deliberate behavior, HMRC can go back as far as 20 years. Think about it. A freelance web developer in London underdeclaring, say, £12,000 of income a year. After just 3 years, that's £36,000 in undeclared income. You add income tax and maybe VAT on top of that, and you've easily blown past that $25,000 tax threshold. It adds up scarily fast. Right. So let's imagine the worst has happened. Someone's hit all 3 of those tripwires and their name is on the list. The financial penalties, they're one thing. But the damage to their reputation, that's on a whole other level. That's where the real long-term pain kicks in, long after the tax bill has been sorted. I mean, the ripple effect is just massive. It starts with your clients and customers wondering if they can trust you. Your professional brand takes a huge knock. If you're in a regulated job like a lawyer or an accountant, you can bet you'll be getting a call from your professional body. You could even be banned from bidding for public contracts. And to top it all off, you'll probably end up on HMRC's Managing Serious Defaulters program, which means they'll be watching your tax affairs like a hawk for up to 5 years. And look, you don't have to take my word for it. As tax expert Phil Blackburn from Lubbock Fine puts it, the reputational damage is enormous. It's like a permanent black mark on your name online that can follow you for years, popping up in search results long after you've paid what you owed. Okay, so after hearing all of that scary stuff, I want to switch gears and talk about the solution. Because, and this is so important, this is not an unavoidable fate. There is a clear legal way to stay off this list, even if you've made a deliberate mistake. So stick with me because this next bit is absolutely crucial if you've got any worries at all. So your escape hatch, your way out of this mess, it all comes back to that 3rd tripwire we talked about. The absolute best way to avoid being named is to get that maximum penalty reduction from HMRC. So how do you do that? Well, you do it by making a full, unprompted, and totally honest disclosure of everything. It's about getting on the front foot, cooperating, helping them figure out the facts, and giving them all the info they need. But, and this is a really big but, here's a little twist. When it comes to anything to do with offshore tax,
the rules change. The whole game gets tougher, and the stakes are way, way higher. The difference between you telling HMRC first versus them finding you becomes everything.
Let me break down the critical difference for you. For tax issues just here in the UK, you can still avoid the list even if HMRC finds you first, as long as you cooperate fully from that moment on. But with offshore stuff, it's a different story. If HMRC finds the issue before you come forward, if they prompt the disclosure, you will be named. Period. End of discussion. Even with 100% cooperation. When it comes to offshore issues, being the first to speak up is the only guaranteed way to keep your name private. So, trying to navigate this whole process, I mean, with all these complex rules, especially the offshore ones, and figuring out what HMRC considers deliberate, it's just incredibly difficult. The pressure is insane, the deadlines are tight, and one wrong move could have terrible consequences. This is absolutely not a DIY job. And that's exactly where a specialist tax advisor is worth their weight in gold. They basically take over this entire minefield for you, making sure your disclosure is solid enough to get that maximum penalty reduction. An expert will handle all those stressful calls with HMRC, argue your case, and build a clear strategy with one primary goal: keeping your name off that public list. This is precisely the kind of specialized work the team at ProTax Accountant does day in, day out. All right, so let's start to wrap this up. Let's quickly go over the key things to remember and what you need to do if any of this is making you a bit nervous. The threat is real, for sure, but there is a clear way out if you act the right way, and this is key, if you act fast. So here's the most important takeaway from our entire chat today. If you have even the slightest worry about any tax irregularities, whether they were deliberate or not, you need to get specialist advice, and you need to get it now. The experienced team at ProTax Accountant offers a completely confidential, no-obligation chat. You can reach them directly by WhatsApp or phone on 07-985-689912. I'll say that again, 07-985-689912. Or you can pop an email over to the address you see on your screen. And if you want to dig into the details a bit more, you can read the full, in-depth article over on the ProTax Accountant blog. The link is right there for you. And of course, if you want to get more clear, practical advice on UK tax stuff just like this, please do take a second to subscribe to the ProTax Accountant YouTube channel. It really helps. Okay, just a really important disclaimer here. The information we've gone through today is for general guidance only. It's current as of November 2025, and it really shouldn't be your only source for making financial decisions. You know, tax law is complicated, and everyone's situation's different. So before you make any decisions at all about your taxes, you absolutely must speak to a qualified professional like the experts right here at ProTax Accountant. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought to chew on. A tax bill, no matter how big it is a number that can eventually be paid off. But your reputation? How do you even begin to put a price on that? Thanks for your time.